but I feel like I've always believed that you should never let other people define who you are. You define yourself, regardless of your age, gender, race, or background. You can pivot and move your career in any direction you want, so it's never too late to go after your passion. And even if that means switching careers or even industries, you could do that if you wish. So as long as you keep the right people around you that are positive and have great energy and that challenge you and give you radical candor when necessary, those are the people to keep by your side. And if you can, seek out a mentor to help take your talent to the next level and go forward with your dream. If we sort of take a step back, the year is 2020, and as we mentioned, people are having such a hard time. We're here in Toronto, we're in our second lockdown, and it's just not easy to deal with. If we take a step back to our first lockdown, mid-March, people were at home and we were all watching the news, and in the midst of that, we all witnessed the murder of George Floyd. As terrible as that event was, what I loved about the aftermath is that the movement for racial injustice was embraced by all walks of life. People realized that it isn't enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist. There was never sort of a more clear metaphor than seeing the 3 extra cops watching the knee take place. And what we needed them to do in that moment was to take the knee off the neck of the marginalized. I think we all realize that to do nothing and idle is no longer a safe option. Silence in itself can be violence. So this sentiment has been embraced by corporations and employees from all around the world, which brings us to this conversation. When people think of diversity, they typically think of diversity in race or even diversity in gender, and those are 2 very important things. But what a lot of people don't take into consideration is diversity of thought. It's important that we analyze data and that we analyze feel. People have different perspectives from different walks of life, and these perspectives are essential. Because if we think about it, our customers come from very different cultures, generations, and different vantage points as well. So it's essential that corporations embrace the mindset when it comes to representation. It's not enough to simply just have more Black people in the workplace. That's not the whole message, because if we're being transparent, and there are some companies out there that are being transparent with their numbers, with their metrics. For example, Levi's, they put out a report, they're just being honest with themselves, and they looked at it, and when they looked at the Black people in their organization, yes, on a surface level, it might align with the percentage of population that are minorities, but they dug deeper and they realized that all of the Black employees were ramped up in entry-level jobs, and then they fade out completely at middle management. Middle management is a place many Black people get stuck for years on end. And many corporations find it very rare to have Black representation in leadership roles. And this is what needs to be changed as well, so that we increase diversity of thought, so we could increase our internal perspectives on our customers, which directly impacts our results. And ultimately, what we end up doing is we increase inspiration at not just our respective workplace, but to all the organizations that are watching from afar. It's actually a term that was first proposed by a psychiatrist named Chester M. Pierce in the 70s. And microaggressions are subtle insults made to communicate disparaging messages towards marginalized groups. And just to be clear, there are different types of microaggressions. For example, there is racial microaggressions. And these are the everyday insults, indignities, and demeaning messages sent to people of color by well-intentioned people who are just unaware of the hidden messages being sent through them. It's also equally important to understand the impact that microaggressions have on those that experience them, and this is, so important. The impact is that it leaves sort of a deep psychological impact that can lead to a variety of symptoms like anxiety, paranoia, depression, sleep difficulties, reduced confidence, feelings of unworthiness. Sort of gives the person this imposter syndrome feeling. It's really tough to speak out on it, and it's even more tough to shake it off. So I guess to be aware of it is sort of to understand the impact that it has. And it's also important to sort of just be cautious of your tone and what you might be implying with the subtle things that you say. LEAP is an acronym that I'll share with you right now. L stands for listen and learn from your Black colleagues' experiences. The E in LEAP is engage with your Black colleagues. The A in LEAP stands for ask your Black colleagues about their work and their goals. The P is for provide your Black colleagues with opportunities, suggestions to get ahead, encouragement, and just general support. So the LEAP framework, listen, engage, ask, and provide, are very specific actionable steps an ally can take to help improve the diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. What can we do? We don't know where to begin.